Welcome to my shiny office here at Cornelia YouTube Financial Advisors, where we have a little fun with talking about how I would invest superstar athletes' money. Today's episode is a special one. We are detailing Joe Burrow, who's about to go #1 overall to the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL draft. What an exciting night as he grew up in Ohio, just a few hours away from Cincinnati. And I'm actually a licensed real estate agent in Cincinnati, so we have like a little connection, So I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to pitch my services to Joe. For this episode, we're going to assume that Joe has the same contract as Kyler Murray, who went #1 overall in last year's NFL draft, which comes out to be a signing bonus of $23 million. So the base and signing bonus for the first year is about $24 million. We do not know the amounts of endorsements, but let's just have fun and say it's about $6 million, which is probably about right, for a nice round number of $30 million. What an awesome start to his career. A $30 million first year. So that'll be a nice round number after taxes, management fees, lawyers, accountants, and of course my advisor fee. We're looking at about 50% cut off from that 30 million number. So for this episode, we're gonna have a little fun with $15 million. $15 million to play with. You get to see my lovely handwriting. So I am gonna first dedicate 10% of this number to all living expenses. So we'll do 10%, which is gonna be $1.5 million. Can you live off $1.5 million? Because I sure as hell can. So what we're looking at is first living. Where is he gonna live? I've already picked out a condo. I've mentioned I am a real estate agent, so I like to look at the lavish lifestyles of the rich and the famous. So I already came across a condo. It is one of the best locations in Cincinnati. It looks out onto the water. It's incredible for only $650,000. Think of that. $650,000 will get you that amazing high-end condo that is top of the line. This is perfect for Joe because it's also 1 mile away from the stadium. And what's most important for Joe is focus on the task at hand, which is becoming the best football player he can and leading this organization back to the playoffs. So we'll go ahead and put $650,000 for condo. That is a good start. We're going to allocate $50,000 a year for living expenses. These are going to be property taxes, insurance, HOA, anything that comes with living. This can be electric, internet, cable, all these various expenses. I just allocated a random number. 50,000 sounds about right. 50K for living. Next, we've got personal chef and food of $100,000. This may seem crazy to you, but he is a professional athlete, #1 overall pick. He is going to lead this organization back to the top. And we need to make sure that his body and mind is taken care of. So we're gonna make sure that he never has to cook a meal. He's gonna have a personal chef and buy the highest end food possible. He's gonna eat extremely healthy. We're gonna make sure that #1 priority is taking care of him and making sure he is fully prepared for Sunday. So we're gonna do 100K for chef. Next, we've got car. I'm gonna allocate about $75,000 for the car. I think a Tesla would be perfect for him. I mean, what better car than a Tesla? In my opinion, best bang for your buck. But $75,000 can get you a lot of car. We do not need him focusing on material items. He is going to be the best quarterback in the NFL. That is what our focus is as his financial advisor, and we need to make sure he's always focused on what matters most and not on a vehicle. And again, we're paying cash for all these things. Next, we've got friends, $200,000. Would you want to be friends with someone for $200,000? Heck yeah, what a life you could live. So one thing with professional athletes is that they have their friends come with them as kind of their team. If you think about it, if you become a famous athlete, you don't want to have to go get your gas. You don't have to spend money going to get groceries, going to get little small items around the house, go to CVS to get toilet paper, that kind of stuff. So that's what you have your friends for. They're going to take you to games. They're going to be essentially your chauffeurs. And of course, when you get rich and famous, you don't want to have to go out and make new friends, right? So you're going to bring your friends along. I allocated $200,000. I actually don't really know this number. I know in the NBA, they generally have 1 or 2 guys around them at all times, boys from high school or college. So 100K each for 2 friends or 50K for 4. This one doesn't really matter too much, but this is always going to be your rent. This is going to be a little money for them on the side, but this is just money to the friends to make sure that they're there for him. And next we've got miscellaneous of $425,000. $425,000. This can be for vacations, friends, family. You hear about whenever athletes get drafted over #1 overall, a first round pick, they're gonna go out and buy their parents a car, pay off their mortgage. So that's what we're gonna use this money for. $425,000, I figure that'd be plenty. This is also gonna be any additional cars that he might have, even though I would highly advise against it. But if he wants to go out and get like a Mercedes or give his friends a car, if you wanna be like David Dobrik, go out and give his friends a Tesla, then he can certainly do that. And he doesn't even need to shout out SeatGeek. This is also gonna be any type of services he wants. If he wants to go get massages or anything like that. And also what I include is my Thought Patrol service. This is handling of all the new thoughts that are about to enter Joe Burrow's life. When he goes out to bars, when he gets on Instagram, he's gonna have an abundance of women trying to hit him up because he's good looking, 6'4", new #1 overall pick, a lot of money. He's gonna have access to a lot of women, but we need to make sure to manage that. Remember, his focus needs to be on football, becoming the best player in the NFL. So part of my service, I'm gonna look out for him. I'm gonna handle his DMs. I'm gonna make sure that he gets exactly what he wants and gets the right women around him. So that's just part of, that's included in the fee. And there'll just be a small $2,000 fee for the lawyer to draft up NDAs. Whenever you wanna hang out with an athlete, you always gotta have your phone taken away and sign NDAs that whatever happens doesn't get out on social media. Now onto the fun part, the actual investing. So I'm gonna give him $1 million of fun money. This is money he can invest however he wants. This is money that I do not ever plan on seeing again. I could care less how he spends it. This is gonna be money to go invest in the startups, maybe back in his home in something township in Ohio, maybe back in Louisiana. He met some donors or met some people that he wants to invest in some businesses. $1 million, this is the high risk startup businesses, or maybe he wants to give it to friends to start up their business, whatever he wants. Next, this is gonna be an interesting one. I'm gonna give $100K budget for his content team. Now what is that, Spencer? I fully believe in building brands, and especially when you're the #1 overall pick, you are asked to lead a franchise. People and fans want to see you. They want to see behind the scenes, and this is where we give access to them. This is a videographer and an editor. And this is certainly, I don't want you to become Logan Paul and vlog every day. What this is, become like Russell Wilson, Jimmy Butler, Cam Newton. A couple of these guys have little teams around them where you create content. I want Joe to, he's known for his competitiveness, and I want the fans to see that. It's probably going to be a rough year or two in Cincinnati as the team doesn't have much talent around him. He's a new quarterback. A lot of quarterbacks struggle their first year. So I want him to come into the league and have a little behind the scenes peek into how hard he works and the competitive drive that he has and the dedication he has to winning and the organization. I think that'll help build up his brand long term. And I think it'll certainly help with fans who are seeing maybe a rough product the first year, that they can see how hard he works. This is also a chance for him maybe on Monday mornings or whenever they have time off and he's isolated, quarantined, wink, wink, haha, then he can connect with fans this way. This is a good way to reach out to Cincinnati as a city and kind of become connected with the fan base that has helped paying for his pretty amazing salary. So next, let's see. This leaves us about $12 million to invest. $12 million to invest. What in the world are we gonna do with $12 million? How about let's invest in a really risky startup. Now, I'm a real estate guy. We're gonna invest in real estate. I looked on LoopNet, found a property already, $4 million, 88 unit. Address is 3375 McHenry Avenue. This is under contract, but for the sake of this exercise, let's say it's not. Trading at about a 6.7% cap rate, which means that is the rate of return on your investment if you were to pay cash. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna use cash for Joe. We are gonna be a cash buyer in the real estate game. Right now is actually a really interesting time because some people might be struggling a little bit to pay their bills. And right now you might be able to get a little discount. So if you're looking at about a 7 cap, let's go find a 7 cap property. Let's dedicate $4 million to finding a 7 cap property where we get it at a discount. I'm looking at discounts of 10% or more. Now, how do I find this? Reach out to all commercial brokers. Let them know I got a buyer behind me. I am ready to buy. We're cash buyers and we are not playing games. We're ready to close. So we can look at 12 million. We'll dedicate 4 million to a large commercial project right from the start. 4 million, boom. He's got 88 units. Let's assume he buys this property. 88 units already, good start. So that leaves us with 8 million. Pen's kind of dying. $8 million. Now how are we gonna spend $8 million? Here is actually a fun exercise I'll do. I'm gonna reach out to all of the commercial brokers in Cincinnati as a whole. Every single one of them. What I'm gonna do is once Joe arrives to the city, not once, we're gonna let him get settled in his new condo a little bit, but we're gonna buy out a restaurant for a night. And I'm gonna invite all the commercial brokers in town to a special night with Joe Burrow, where they can meet him, they can have dinner with him, answer questions, all that fun stuff, interview him, whatever, take pictures for their social media. But what this will do is this will get in their minds and let them know that we're here to play, we are here to buy, we are cash buyers, we got 8 million in the bank, we got proof of funds, we are here to buy $8 million worth of real estate. And if you look at Cincinnati right now, if it's trading at $40,000 to $80,000 per unit, you're looking at a lot of units. And combined, we're looking at purchase power in here, if we're looking at $12 million of real estate, the purchase power is somewhere between 150 and 300 units. That is what we're going to target, and that's what we're going after for Joe's first set of deals. Now, the reason why we'll do cash, and the reason why we're going to put all in on cash, I know a lot of people are like, oh man, Spencer, right now, real estate might be a little troublesome. What's going to happen? Here's why. If anything were to happen in about 12 to 24 months, which I do think we're going to see some interesting times in real estate, this is going to allow us to have all equity, 100% equity in these properties, 12 million, right? If shit hits the fan and we need to pull out, we could go 60% on a collateralized loan against the equity of the property. 60% of 12 million, I don't know off the top of my head, I'm gonna guess, I don't know, somewhere in the 6.5 to 7 million range. That will give us a line of credit from banks. We're gonna have perfect borrowing power, and we're gonna be able to borrow 7 million to go play ball. To give you an idea what type of money we're talking, $12 million invested in real estate at a 7% return, $840,000 a year in income. That is how much he'll make. Even if he were to get let go and his contract ended, $840,000, that is the value of real estate. He still owes $12 million in equity, $840,000 a year in income coming in at a 7 cap. Even more if we're able to see a little bit hard times and we're able to buy at a higher cap rate. And this 60% is pretty important. If we ever need to borrow against that, we can use 60%, $6.5 million. We could go out and buy single family houses if they get hit hard. If we see a lot of people in the forbearance situation, if they struggle and end up getting foreclosed on, we're looking at houses, maybe if they're worth 150 today, maybe we could scoop them up at 100 if we have a cash. If they owe 100 or 110 or so, we could come in and get a large discount on houses, buy them at 100,000 if they're worth 150. You can see the type of discount. And at that volume, with $6 million, $7 million in funds, we're talking 60, 70, maybe depending on the purchase price, maybe even upward to 100 homes. This is how you build long-term wealth. Equity, and then you got cash flow, and then you can borrow against the equity to build even more of a bigger real estate portfolio and start getting in the 200, 300 unit range. And that is all in his first 12 to 24 months. What's going to happen with Joe is he's going to actually, because he got a signing bonus up front, his next few years, his next 3 or 4 years, depending on if they re-sign him, the salary is actually going to be much lower. So he's going to be making significantly less in year 2, 3, 4. However, the big thing is he now has other sources of income. And by that year 5, year 6, when he signs the next big deal, we're going to be ready to scoop up a lot of deals in real estate. That is how Joe Burrow is going to get wealthy under the Cornelia YouTube financial advisor system that I've created. It is bulletproof, I promise. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope it was interesting. If you have any questions, or I would love to hear your thoughts and see, if you would do anything differently. I'd be curious to see what you would allocate to each kind of expense that a professional athlete would have. But anyway, thanks for watching.